Hawaii is the most isolated landmass in the world. It's also the home of America's highest gas prices. And with over 1 million cars on the island, no wonder it has the highest driven miles per person in the nation. But it wasn't always like that. Today, I get to ride in one of the state's original public transportation vehicles.
Hey, Ron, how's it going?
Hey, look
Good to
at
meet
this. My God. You got to fill me in. I don't know if we're looking at a Woody or...
Well, it's an old island car called a Hilo Sampan bus, made in Hilo back in the day, where they would take a normal car, cut it from the windshield back and add a body.
Sometimes called banana boats, the first sampan bus was built in 1922 in Hilo, Hawaii by a taxi driver named Fukumatsu Kuzumoto. His vision was to provide more affordable transportation for plantation workers. While skeptics laughed, he forged ahead. The first one ever made was from a Ford Model T, and rides back then only cost 5 cents. They were an instant hit and gave birth to Hawaii's first public transportation system.
I promise not to turn it upside down.
Oh, that's all right.
Today, we're cruising in this museum on wheels down one of Waikiki's iconic roads, Kalakaua Avenue.
Okay, get ready for the money shots.
It's built sort of like a Woody, where they got a certain amounts of certain types of wood to go up here.
They get a combination of blacksmiths to do the framing, and then carpenters to do the wood.
Every sampan was custom built and required a lot of skill and craftsmanship. Chrysler DeSotos, Buicks, Fords, and Chevys were all modified with longer frames that featured open-air passenger compartments. Each one was slightly different, but they could typically hold 10 to 12 adults on 3 bench seats. At the peak of their popularity in the 1930s and 40s, there were over 200 sampans running routes around the big island of Hawaii.
Excuse me, sir, would you like a ride? Hop in. Your Uber has now arrived.
Yeah.
Two numbers on the car.
Yes.
There's a 71 and a 13.
Yes.
Okay, what's the 71 stand for?
They finally started organizing these sampan drivers in Hilo around 1948. And they developed a registry so they could keep track of them. They registered them. And this turned out to be number 71 on the registry.
Sampan number 71 was registered back in 1953 with a 13-passenger limit.
There are seat belts for 13 people in the car.
So if the Swedish bikini team shows up,
we'll put 14.
that was my next question.
Back then, sampans didn't run on a set schedule. Instead, passengers were picked up and dropped off at known hotspots. Eventually, they became organized under a county bus control director and operated until 1976.
Have you ever thought about putting a supercharger and a big injector sticking out of here?
I thought about it. If you want to loan me a spare engine, I'd be happy to.
I'm pretty sure we are the coolest people right now on this road at this moment.
Passing the iconic Diamond Head Fountain, I couldn't help but marvel at the long history of Hawaii's roads, especially its most famous one, Kalakaua Avenue. Named after King Kalakaua, this road started out as a footpath and worked its way up to horse and buggy. The first rubber tires rolled out on this road after the Model Ts were introduced to the island. By the 1960s, it was a 5-lane strip that to this day still gets millions of tourists from point A to point B, keeping Hawaii's economy on the go.
Man, if you're a 16-year-old kid riding this thing, look at the chicks that you would get.
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
Well, Ryan, I could not have thought of a better ride or a better car to cruise around Waikiki. Thank you so much. I had a blast. We'll have to do it again.
You bet, anytime.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Up next, we'll learn how Hawaii's Asian population influences its import scene while being pulled over by a cop.